Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with his Sunday guest and friend of the channel, Mr. Todd Baldwin. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on today.
Hey, man, something I haven't done with any of my other experts yet. Maybe I'll do it with Matt, the lumberjack, next, because he is like us, commission-based. That's what we do. I thought you and I would play tennis, which means you go, I go strategy, with each of us talking about three things that software salespeople get wrong. And maybe it's salespeople. And the last thing I want to say before we get into this, giving you time to think, is, folks, if you don't realize that every day you're selling your kids, you're selling your significant other, you are selling all the time. Just because you think salespeople are icky or you get that eerie feeling does not mean you're not selling every day. So with that, hopefully I gave you some time to think about it. What is the number one thing in your experience salespeople get wrong?
I think salespeople believe that the customer cares about the amazing thing that the company the sales rep works for has done. So I'll say that in a way that's less confusing. If I'm a salesperson, which I am a salesperson, and I go into a meeting and I talk about, yeah, we are the 7th largest software company in this area, and we have done X, Y, Z, and blah, blah, blah. The customer does not give a damn. The customer only cares about how your product or service can benefit them. So instead of going in with this PowerPoint presentation about how awesome you are or about how incredible your company is, I go in with a blank notepad. That's literally all I bring for the first meeting. And I just ask them questions about their business. I get an understanding of what they're looking for. And then I try to figure out, do I have a solution that will help them attain those goals? Because if you come in like, oh yeah, we've done blah, 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 and we're on the Forbes list, they don't care. They're like, okay, and what does that mean to me? So that's the first thing, is they don't care about your awesome story about how great you think your company is.
Mine is along the same lines, just positioned differently, my first one. And this is how a non-technical, or I should say a technical idiot, was the number one pre-sales agent, pre-sales person 5, 6, 7 years in a row. I competed with PhDs, master's degree, computer science engineers. All of them, without question, were smarter than me. And that is because, at least in the beginning of a sales cycle, the first meeting, the first this, the first that, you need to realize that you need to sell the heart before the head. Now, this is what I mean. A lot of people come out and they either do a pitch deck about how great they are, or they come out and talk about ROI, return on investments, whacking headcounts, whatever it is. Things that are aimed at the mind. Nobody buys that way, or at least very few. I think I was at part of an event, like 10 or 12% buy that way, which means 88% of people don't. So you have to get their heart. You have to understand them. You've got to get emotion. That's what happens is you're going to go buy a new car. Do you want somebody spitting at you variables out of the whatever, the booklet? Oh, 0 to 60 in this or that, or the torque of this. No, you need to talk about the family and how you can get that growing family and how it's easy to put it in the car seat, or why the safety score is so high. And then once you grab them emotionally, then it's really weird. Once you grab them emotionally, then they'll buy logically, which is the mind. That's when you go, hey, this is the cheapest this or this. Because again, they kind of wrap around you emotionally, but then they want to buy logically, because everybody thinks, oh, I've got to make sure I get a good deal. Unfortunately, salespeople get that in reverse, right? So I always call it a light bulb moment. When I get them and I can see it in their eye that I've got them emotionally, then you flip and go, okay, well, now let me tell you why this is a good deal and why you'll get a deal better than anybody else. So a lot of salespeople sell wrong, and you never get invited back. If you come out guns a-blazing with metrics and variables and vocabulary nonsense, and you haven't got them, you're not coming back. You just lost.
Agreed. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think one thing too, and this actually piggybacks off the emotional side. If I think about every large transaction I've ever sold, and I'm thinking about, 6 or 7 figure contracts, I think every single time, whoever the decision maker was, at one point during one of the meetings, I got them to laugh. And it was something that was personable. It wasn't, I wasn't up there doing stand-up, but it was like, it wasn't all numbers in business. It was building rapport. It was understanding them. And then if I could figure out what what sort of made them, I don't know, giddy a little bit. And I could do that. And sometimes it was risky, but I'm pretty sure in every large transaction I did, I made the decision maker laugh. And it's just something where, yeah, if you make somebody laugh, or let's say somebody makes you laugh, you're going to have that positive feeling about that person, because we love laughter. That's why comedy is so popular. And if you have that positive feeling or positive emotion about this person, your brain is going to tell you that person is a good person and is truthful and honest. And so, yeah, it's good to do that. And of course, you got to know your stuff. You can't just be a clown but not know what you're doing. But if you can make them laugh, I think that's a huge win for you.
Totally agree. The next one I will tell you that really drives engineers and computer scientists and product managers nuts. The best product doesn't win. The best product doesn't win. The best story wins. Think about that again. The best product doesn't win. The best story wins. That just drives people crazy. I mean, I can't tell you how many engineers, computer scientists, product managers I have gone toe to toe with about stop trying to make it the this or the that, the best thing. You've got to give me a story that ties together. Right now, you guys are giving me 17 ingredients and you're telling me why the 17 ingredients are the best. I'm telling you we got into it. The effing recipe sucks. Stop telling me why your 17 widgets standalone are the best when I can't create a recipe that the client understands. You guys are giving me junk. No, you don't understand. You're just a stupid sales guy. You don't get it. No, you don't get it. You need to give me a recipe that I can make them feel and touch and sense and all of this. And we're getting our clock cleaned. There was a time, for example, there's a software company called ServiceNow that everybody knows. They're a gigantic company, right? Their CEOs, this, that, all of that. Back when they were very small, they competed with a private company I was at called Cantana. And we were crushing them because our story had workflow before ServiceNow did. We cleaned their clock time and time again. They added that one really rudimentary workflow in the beginning. Now it is amazing and awesome. But they neutralized our story, and our product managers and engineers didn't get it. Because once they had that part of the story, even though their workflow was not nearly as good as ours at that time, they won because their story was so much bigger. And our engineers and product managers kept coming back to the workflow. I mean, you guys are not listening. They've neutralized us. We're dead. We are dead because their knowledge management and all these other features that were part of their product took over. And, you know, we got run over, ultimately had to sell out to Hewlett Packard or HP. So it's a very personal thing. Don't get enamored with this little thing. Once your competitor neutralizes you, even if it's worse, they've neutralized your advantage. And yeah, that was painful to see. We went from beating them 90% of the time to losing 100% of the time. And I'll never forget product managers just not listening that, yes, I know our workflow is better, but they have all this other recipe. Stop. And it was a painful demise for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think, you know, the last thing that I will say is that I think this is missed by a lot of sort of like small to mid-sized companies, is that the best way to sell yourself is through marketing, not even necessarily to send a salesperson into the room. I mean, you have Apple or Android?
Me, I have Apple.
Yeah, of course you do. You want to know why? Because Apple has incredible marketing. It's just cool to have an iPhone. Nobody has to sell you on getting an iPhone.
Yep.
And I don't know about you, but when I need new tires for my car, I'm going to Les Schwab.
Yeah.
They didn't have to sell me.
No.
They have done incredible with their marketing and their branding. And so what I did with my house hacking business is, at least in my area, I wanted it to be a no-brainer that if you're going to be renting a room in the Seattle area, you're renting from Todd Baldwin. And so I did crazy marketing. And so I didn't have to sell really anyone. I mean, that's why I had, you know, no vacancies. I had no vacancies I've never had a vacancy, like, you know, out of 170 tenants or whatever, I've literally never missed a month's rent because my marketing is so on par. And so I think that's something that people miss too, is that, yes, you know, you still want to build the connection with the customer. You want to do things, you want to present it well, you want to make them laugh, all the things we've talked about. But if you have the best marketing and your brand is like, just no question, it's the best brand, people will come to you. You don't even have to cold call anymore if that's the case.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me tell you, sales reps really like it when the phone rings. Let me just tell you. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Inbound versus outbound. Very cool. So the last one I will give you is never stop prospecting. Right. I can't tell you how many sales reps get to a point where they have like, they're doing their QBRs, which stands for quarterly business review, talking about their pipeline. I've got this in upside, this in forecast, this and this, all that stuff. And you sort of look behind and you're like, you got nothing left. You're working on that one deal. And yes, that one deal might get your number and it might blow you out. But do you realize that that deal can fall apart for any reason? And it may not even be your fault. Like, I've seen just crazy things happen over the years, and deals fall apart. I remember one deal had 7 signatures, but not 8. I remember, it's just crazy reasons deals can fall apart. And you don't perform, right? You miss your forecast, or most likely, or whatever you're calling it at your shop, you can be let go. So again, never stop prospecting. The best reps I have were amazing at having a full pipeline. And yeah, they had a lot of stuff that didn't turn out to anything. And maybe you feel like they're burning extra resources, but gosh darn it, they have a pipeline and they're not going anywhere because they realize that they have to eat now and they've got to eat later as well.
Oh yeah, no, pipeline is everything. And you can, as a salesperson, you can do everything right and still lose business. I mean,
Absolutely. It happens all the time.
It does. Yeah. I worked my sales was insurance, right? I was doing commercial insurance. And if I had a client who then their CEO retired, so they got a new CEO. What if that new CEO's brother-in-law is an insurance broker at a competing firm? I immediately lose the business, right? So yeah, you have to have a full pipeline.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, do me a favor. We talk about all kinds of stuff on this channel, trying to help people be better. Where can people find you?
Yes. If you guys want to connect with me on Instagram, it is at Todd J. Baldwin. If you want to find me on YouTube, where I talk about house hacking and real estate and all that stuff, it's just my name, Todd Baldwin. And if you guys are interested in the house hacking class and you use the code Zuber, you get 90% off the class. So congratulations for being subscribed to Michael Zuber.
There you go. Thanks, buddy.